So we're going to talk about indicators now a little bit. There's a lot out there, but we're going to focus on some of them. So first, I'm just going to try to give a definition of what is a good indicator based on Yves Gingras's publication in 2016. So that it is important to understand that for criticizing and understanding the indicators I will show later on. So it's important for the indicator to have adequacy with the object it measures. How does the indicator close the gap with the object it measures? Is research activity okay? Is research funding a proxy or research activity, for example? And it needs to have a tension between availability and adequacy. Sometimes you would like to have something really clear, like, for example, I want to be sure who used my publication really, right? And then you end up having, okay, the only tool I have is to look at citation. It doesn't mean that other people didn't use my paper, especially a methods paper, for example, but they will never cite it in their article, but it was useful to them, right? So it's very difficult sometimes to find an appropriate indicator, like completely adequate, because the data is simply not available. It's need to further sensitive to the intrinsic inertia of the object. So it means that the speed at which the indicator change should be the speed at which the indicator should be compiled should be consistent with the speed at which the data are likely to move. So, for example, if you go on social media and Twitter, looking at what's happening every hour makes sense. If you look at university ranking, maybe looking every year doesn't make much sense because it takes time for things to change. I don't know. Looking at publications, is it updates or citations? Do you want to look at it every day, every month, every year? Does it make sense to go? What kind of granularity do you want? So homogeneity of dimensions, or are they similar or different? You need to compare apples with apples. So if you look at citation, you look at numbers. There's many different things you need to be careful when you compare two different things. I'll give examples later. Another thing that you need to think about is that it's important to go beyond the numbers. So citations, what can you do with the citations? So of course it's a marker. It can be a marker of collaboration. So you can establish collaboration networks, like we have an example here, and you can dig out lot more information. For example, proportion of article with more than one author, address, country, average number of authors, address, country, and you can do a lot of work on gender distribution, work distribution, and so on and so forth, just with the citations and the articles linked to that. So another little quiz for you. Citations as an impact measurement is okay, but what are the strengths of citations as indicator? What are the limitations of citation as indicator? And was there usage of articles that could be impactful? So I think I gave some hint before. So what do you think about citations? And do you think articles have other types of impact that are not measured by citations? Can rephrase it a bit that way. So please raise your hand or write in the chat.